This is the Week in Sustainability from Sustain.Life. It's where our team of sustainability experts and practitioners share commentary to keep you up to date on developing stories and news.
Hi, I'm Constance Stoke, Director of Sustainability at Sustain.Life.
I'm Hannah Soksky, Sustainability Data Analyst at Sustain.Life.
Hey, Hannah, how are you doing today?
Doing well. It's a beautiful sunny day.
Great. Well, Earth Day is upon us this week. And in fact, on Saturday, we're celebrating Earth Day for the 53rd time since 1970. And in that year, about 20 million Americans took to the streets to protest the destruction of the environment. And that ultimately resulted in things like the Clean Water Act and the Clean Air Act, the Endangered Species Act, and it also gave us the EPA and NOAA. But today, as pointed out in a really great piece that I recommend from Outside Magazine, Earth Day does feel pretty commercialized with all the ads about buying more stuff, even if it's more eco-friendly stuff. So obviously we can't shop ourselves out of blowing past, resource or planetary boundaries. So the question I kind of want to explore today is whether Earth Day is still meaningful even as emissions are rising, even in light of the recent IPCC report that says we don't have a lot of time left to take action. And kind of given that one of the key ingredients of actions is hope. Hannah, do you think Earth Day still inspires hope in people?
Earth Day is still the largest civic secular celebration in the world. An estimated billion people get engaged. That absolutely gives me hope. Um, so earthday.org is the largest recruiter into the environmental movement, and they organize a theme each year. And this year's theme is Invest in Our Planet. And they offer a sort of an option of investment. If you can invest time and effort, then they publish a ton of free resources for activities for all ages and abilities and sort of education levels. But then they're also kind of drawing attention through the use of their language to our current climate change investment gap. The World Economic Forum estimates that it'll take $270 trillion to get us to a net zero world. And Rockefeller estimates that we're only 16% of the way there. So I think Invest in Our Planet is a really good message to draw attention to the fact that if you're not doing something that really does sort of prioritize the future of the world, then you're not honoring the spirit of the holiday in the right way. And we've seen that Earth Day is growing every year since its inception. So the idea that even a fraction of participants are sort of spurred to action by this day, of course, it gives me hope.
That's really great to hear. I agree. And I also really enjoy how Earth Day always serves as kind of a platform for idea exchanges. It's just so well publicized. I think, companies and even individuals can see what others are doing for the day. And so if you've, been feeling a bit stagnant as a company or as an individual, you might find something new to get excited about. And I think for companies, especially, kind of speaking of how commercialized it has become to it, a lot depends on how you position Earth Day. If you make it all about how you can use the day to sell more of your product, you might miss out on those kind of longer term benefits of really, engaging employees and driving climate literacy. Or just environmental literacy in general, and kind of generating ideas to reduce environmental impact over the long term.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether you're launching a new environmental initiative or expanding upon an existing commitment, this is the right opportunity to grow your sustainability program. I think a good litmus test to tell if what you're doing is really effective is making sure that whatever action or commitment you take on Earth Day is something that is going to continue to have impact beyond the sort of 24 hours that we call Earth Day. If you're trying to boost profits in any way, probably headed in the wrong direction.
Yeah, I think we're on definitely on the same page about that. It's such an important point. I always feel Earth Day and just having planned Earth Day events across companies. In my mind, it should just be about taking an opportunity to either launch new initiatives or to revive efforts that have kind of fallen by the wayside and get everybody really excited about them again and to buy in. Um, And, just being the type of company we are and being very sustainability focused, I know we talk quite a bit about individual actions among ourselves too, which is a big thing on Earth Day. I mean, it kind of makes it into classrooms and teaching kids about actions they can take, even if they're small. So, is there something that you're kickstarting this year, or have you kind of reached peak sustainability in your personal life?
I've become perfect and I use no resources. I think that
Excellent.
this is a fun question. I've been moving around a lot for the past few years, and I think that it's been interesting to see like you can't get into really significant habits in that kind of way. When I was in Maryland and Massachusetts, I was given the option on my utility bill to switch to opt into green energy. That's not an option in Florida. In the same ways, I could get my compost picked up with my trash. That made it really easy to do compost, which is sometimes difficult. In Florida, the furthest I would have to drive sort of over an hour to drop it to a farm that would accept it. I don't live in a walkable or bikeable community. I think all of that's just to say, the way that you personally embody sustainability does have limits on the like based on the infrastructure around you. But with that caveat aside, I'm finally bringing plants into my house, as not evidenced behind me, but that'll be doing a few things for me. Obviously, plants indoors brings the temperature down. That'll put less pressure on my AC in Florida summers. And then also, anytime you have the opportunity to grow anything at home, specifically produce, you're reducing on plastic and what you're buying from the grocery store and sort of the agricultural machine in general. And and then a continued effort over the past 5 years. I've been in and out of a plant-based diet for a while, sort of phasing in and out different kinds of distinctions. And this year I'm putting a pretty hard line on gelatin, which is really difficult because I love gummy candy. Um, and then I think the sort of most accessible thing that everyone can do and that I personally love is just the importance of continuous education and reading. It's so easy. And I think also as a young person, it's really nice to be learning about what the climate movement looked like before I started learning about it. And there's a lot of history there that you have to absorb.
Love it. Yeah, your ideas are great. We do have to have a side conversation about apartment composting. That actually is a thing that's doable. And there are some pretty neat composting machines out there that you can keep under your kitchen sink. So let's touch base on that. And of course, I'm always a huge fan of growing produce. We talk about that quite a bit among ourselves. Um, I did actually start a biodiversity initiative a while back, like a couple of years ago, to restore some bird habitat where I live. And um, that's been quite successful. And then just this week, I read about kind of the dire state of bats due to climate change in the US. Pretty sad. So I think the natural extension of my bird project is to create spaces for bats. So I'm going to go talk to our local wildlife rescue and see if they have fungal treatment for bats affected by white nose syndrome, which is kind of the leading disease that's wiping out bat populations. And if so, I will consider installing some cameras to monitor the bat houses and then get treatment pretty quickly if needed. And maybe I should throw in, most people probably don't know how critical bats are to the ecosystem and actually to the economy as well. And in fact, to the tune of about $3.7 billion annually to agriculture because they destroy crop eating pests, but they also aid in pollination. So if that's something that interests you, check out Bat Conservation International's website for more information. And I will also say that Earth Day is the thing that kind of triggered me looking into areas where I might be able to add on this year. So a real life example of, finding inspiration in Earth Day.
That is so spectacular. I love bats. And I think in the same way that bats don't get enough credit, um, we're always so blind to the things that we don't get to see. And I think since so many of them are nocturnal, you're just not thinking about them. Even though I think that's not true for some American species. Either way, very cool. Can't wait to see the cameras that go up and hopefully we get to see some bats in action.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'll definitely keep you up to date. So I think we're out of time, and I want to wish everyone a very happy Earth Day this Saturday, and hope you'll take inspiration from it for the year ahead. And we hope to see you next week with more stories in sustainability. Take care, everyone.
Sustain.Life is a sustainability management SaaS platform with deep carbon expertise that helps future-proof small and medium-sized enterprises by taking climate action. Go to Sustain.Life to learn more. Thanks for listening and watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel or your favorite podcast platform. We'll see you next week.